So if you all remember, about a month ago, we covered the Lord Jamar and Godfrey fallout. Essentially what happened was, for the last 2 or 3 years, Lord Jamar has been claiming that the earth is flat and that he's so confident in his position that he's willing to debate anybody, including Neil deGrasse Tyson, yes, the astrophysicist, on this topic on camera, and he's willing to embarrass whoever. Well, even though Godfrey actually knows Neil deGrasse Tyson, they weren't able to get him on, but they were able to get the next best thing on, this guy by the name of Dave, who literally debates people on this topic and has been doing this for years. They invited this guy onto the podcast, and Lord Jamar was annihilated. He embarrassed himself, he acted a fool, he was name calling, it was bad. Well, as a lot of you should know, since that point things have only gotten worse. Lord Jamar has threatened Godfrey, who he's been friends with for like the past decade. He's now threatening Godfrey with a lawsuit and also claiming that they drugged him, which explains why he behaved so badly during the debate. If you want to check that story out, I really recommend it. It's one of the best videos I've ever dropped on this channel, actually. Check it out here. But for this video, we're going to pivot just a little bit because now Godfrey is under a lot of heat and a lot of fire right now, specifically from the black community, because there's been a lot of conversation over the past maybe 2 or 3 months surrounding hip-hop and who created and who founded hip-hop, right? A lot of what they call foundational black Americans claim that hip-hop was created by black Americans, while there are a lot of other people, including people like Fat Joe, who contributed to hip-hop in some sense, claims that Puerto Ricans and Hispanics played a significant role in the founding of hip-hop. Lord Jamar does not agree, and if you don't know, Godfrey hasn't agreed either up until about like 2 days ago, when he invited this guy by the name of Crazy Legs onto his podcast, who I believe is Puerto Rican. He's of the Hispanic descent, absolutely. Well, he invited this guy onto his podcast, and we're going to take a listen to what happened.
Crazy Legs in the building. Crazy Legs.
I'm also known as Lazy Legs.
That was a little funny. Lazy Legs. So what do you think? You think the earth is flat or round?
Look, I was a 5%er.
Right,
There's no way that we could even have that thought process.
That question is already kind of, it doesn't make sense. Is it flat or round? Godfrey, you do realize that question, both of those things can be true. They're not mutually exclusive necessarily. The earth can be both flat and round. What you want to ask is the earth flat or is it a sphere? That's what you really want to be asking. Listen, I just want to interrupt for just a sec to say, if you are enjoying this video, I ask that you please hit that like button. If you enjoy my content, if you want to help the channel, please hit that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps pushes my video out there. I would really appreciate it. Also, subscribe to my second channel if you have not subscribed yet. Link is in the description.
And if you're a 5%er, peace to the earths and gods and the earth.
Stop clashing with the flat earth, and it's Lord Jamar. And
the boxing. Let me shout out my man. 6 days a week, we were training.
Wow.
6 days a week.
You was ready for the
I wasn't taking that lightly at all.
He was wrapping his hands like, yo, dog. What's up, son?
It ain't new for me.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy it. And, the thing is, look, I had put it out there. This is what happens, just so everyone's clear on it. He was running off his mouth, dragging me into this whole 50-50 conversation that I had nothing to do with it.
Okay.
And I let that slide for a long time. But then,
Explain the 50-50.
Oh, that's...
So, and what this guy by the name of Crazy Legs, what he's talking about is a beef that he's had for many years with Lord Jamar. He's now on the Godfrey podcast, which I already find that to be messy, because if Godfrey and Lord Jamar are currently not on speaking terms, even though they've been friends for years, I would just think that you wouldn't have a guy to come on the podcast to say bad things about Lord Jamar. But anyways, we're here. So we're about to take a listen to what Crazy Legs is going to explain why him and Lord Jamar had a fallout and how they almost fought. There
was the idea of someone saying that hip hop was 50% black, 50% Puerto Rican, and it's like, okay, well, first of all, there's a lot of shit to look at. If someone's remembering something from the moment of when they were a child, and that's that grand
where they understood
vision, and when they fell in love with hip hop, and that's what it felt like to them, I'm not going to be mad at him. We got to give a little grace to whoever, because if that was your recollection of it, and you're not now you're an adult and you're not a historian,
right,
and you don't know how to put that in, or you're not expected to put it in a different context. You're still operating off of, I grew up in the projects, man. We was all rocking together.
Right.
No, ain't nobody doing a census in a project when it comes to us hanging out with each other. When I think about you got Grand Mix at DST, didn't even know he was half Puerto Rican until like 4 years ago.
DST,
He's the first person to win a Grammy in hip hop.
Yeah, that was
half Puerto Rican.
Rocket. He's half Puerto.
They were part of a crew called the Organization.
Okay.
What did the organization become? Zulu Nation.
That's crazy.
So when they're talking about Latinos weren't there, it's like, dude, if you think I've been in the mix for a long time, I saw people before me.
I don't think they're saying Puerto Ricans didn't have anything to do with it. That's false.
It's about percentages.
But they're saying who started it, like origin.
He brings Lazy Legs on his show, and now I didn't watch the that, but I have reports. Basically, he brings Lazy Legs on there, and Lazy Legs just gets to lying about, the Puerto Ricans' contribution to hip hop, and this dude Godfrey is just letting them lie, and just doing some real spiteful shit. I know he probably thought that this was going to be great for him, that it was going to be positive, but the people ended up speaking on his own page. The people in the comments on his own page let him have a piece of their mind. Now, first I want to address this whole thing with Lazy Legs and this boxing, right? Now, you have two categories. You have bozos and you have businessmen. Okay? Lazy Legs is a bozo. I'm a businessman. They want to give me 50 bands to beat the shit out of Lazy Legs. You know how much they was going to give him? 10. Know why? Because he's not a fucking draw. So, yeah, they never came with the bread. Already going on. You appreciated it. You was a rebel, and you started with it. But by no means did you create anything. Shit, Crazy Legs, you didn't create breakdancing. I don't care if you made a move, a fancy move. Godfrey really didn't want to leave Vlad's platform from the get-go. He didn't. I gangstered him into it. This is how I know he's easily manipulated, because I did it to him. B. Amos, thank you. He said Godfrey is going to be a good boy for Vlad. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. I know he is.
Okay, so these are my thoughts. And I literally just went to Godfrey's video to make sure we can pull up the comments after I give my commentary. Look, I'm going to make this quick. There's a few things I want to get out the way. First and foremost, Lord Jamar lost the debate when it came to the flat earth theory. My position is, I don't know. I know what I was taught, and I just trust that the people, and if you all are being honest, if a lot of us are being honest, we don't know if the earth is flat or not. We know what we're taught, and we just trust that the science and the information that we've been given is true. Now, a lot of us have done a lot more research and actually studied this for a living, so you all have better understanding than I do. But when it comes to a debate, you have to make a great case for yourself. Lord Jamar did not do that. However, in this particular situation, Lord Jamar is making a really good case. Look, I don't know who created hip hop. I've always been told that Black Americans created it. But this is what I will tell you. It's very important to understand this about Godfrey. This is what I've always noticed about Godfrey. Godfrey, to me, is similar to a poor white kid attending a mostly black school in the ghetto or in a lower socioeconomic neighborhood for the first time, and he wants to make friends, so he's willing to say and do whatever to pander and to fit in and to impress those around him. Now, you can't blame him for a few reasons, because one, he's a child if you're in high school. Two, you want friends. You want to be able to get along with people. You don't want to upset with people. You want to conform. You want to fit in as much as possible. That's normal teenage behavior. Godfrey is like that because Godfrey is not what people call foundational Black American, or FBA, because his parents are straight from Africa, right? So he's part African, even though he was born here in America. So he don't consider himself as FBA. So Godfrey is one of those people that whenever he covers racism, whenever he covers black topics, whenever he covers black inventions, he only speaks good about black people, which there's nothing wrong with that. But my problem with people like Godfrey is when it's time to hold black people accountable, Godfrey almost never does it because he don't want to step out of line and because he feels like an outsider. He's trying to attach himself to black Americans as much as he can because he doesn't necessarily share our culture. So why is that important here? Because if you go to Godfrey's comment section, a lot of people are calling him out because they're saying, hey, Godfrey, for the longest you've been saying that only black people created hip hop. When did that change? When did you change your mind on that topic? Now that you have somebody of Hispanic descent that has a different opinion than you that comes onto the show, now all of a sudden you're pivoting and you're pandering and you're pretending like you never held these positions. That's Godfrey. It also explains why he would have a person come on who's currently beefing with Lord Jamar, even though he's supposed to be friends with Lord Jamar. It's just messy to me. But it also speaks to the pettiness of all of this. You know why? Because regardless of who created hip hop, I personally don't believe that matters. You know why? Because whether we created hip hop or not, who's making the most money from hip hop? It's not black folks. You know what? You know why else it doesn't matter? Because when you look at the state of hip hop, who's deciding what we talk about in hip hop culture? Who's deciding what we talk about in our music? Don't tell me it's black people, because part of that is true, but it's not just black people who's doing that. It's not a coincidence that most of our music is about destructive, detrimental things, toxic things, drug culture, gang culture, abusing women, anti-God, committing crimes, doing lean, drinking lean, all those sorts of things. It's not a coincidence. They have whole teams. These white Jewish and these white label owners have put teams together that write these lyrics for these artists so that they can talk about certain things. There is an agenda in hip hop. We know that it is because the origin of hip hop didn't talk about these things. How is it that things got better for black Americans from the 40s up until 2025, but the lyrics in our music has gotten worse? Make that make sense. And the fact that Godfrey don't even point that out, I think speaks to a bigger problem. Who cares who created hip hop? What's more important is the state of hip hop and what it's doing to our community. And you know that's something I'm super passionate about. So look, I just wanted to use this as an example, use this as an excuse to say Godfrey is absolutely what the people in his comment section claim him to be. Let's be clear. I find Godfrey is very funny. I find Godfrey as very talented. He's actually one of maybe two comedians that I care to see in person. Him and Dave Chappelle, I want to see them in person. I find them very funny. But it's also clear to me that Godfrey doesn't really fit in with black Americans. So he does what he can to prove that he's for the fight. You know what I mean? Because he never really holds us accountable when we're doing things that's wrong, for the most part. But I love to hear you all's thoughts. Hop in the comment section. Let me know what you all think about this. Who created hip hop? Did Hispanics have a role in it? Do you care about it? Do you think it even matters? Right? What do you think about the state of hip hop culture? Hop in the comment section. Give me your thoughts, man. Until next time. Peace.
Oh, yeah. DD got a podcast.